You can just check the link. You see
The
the
link
countdown
on
on
YouTube.
YouTube. I sent you the link to your event.
I have the YouTube. I have the YouTube. And Derek, are you going to be moderator? Okay.
Hello, everyone. For those of you who are joining us, asanteni sana. This is day 4 of Kenya Photo Week, and we have Pau Shinski with us. Pau, ni aje? Poa
What do you
sana.
do, man? What do you do?
You know, you like hooding yourself just like this profile photo of yours, and pengine hiyo ni
You know
trademark.
that, you know, actually somebody thought it was a trademark because I always had a Masai, a Masai blanket over my head for a very long time.
Ama
Yeah,
you're always in places with AC, so inakuanga baridi.
I don't even know. It was swag then.
Okay, sawa. Thanks for those of you who are joining us on YouTube and on the Facebook page, Kenya Professional Kenya Photographers. Karibuni sana. So Pau Shinski will be taking us through product and commercial photography. I know some of those words, commercial photography, advertising photography, they are used interchangeably, but perhaps it's going to break it down. But many of us, I'm sure, have seen Pau's work, and I'm projecting his hiyo ni CV hivi, mnaona vile komzito. Experience, Daystar University, Transworld Radio, a number of agencies there, Swivel, Paukwa, Kijiji, Silverball, Mavuno Church, and then a summary of brand list. Mzito tu hapo tu, Intercontinental, Sankara, SOS, Trademark, Safaricom, Africa Leadership Academy, OLX, Nokia, Smirnoff. And interestingly, in case you wanna hit Pau, unaweza mtumia email hapo ama unaweza WhatsApp. Tuna encouraging watu msisumbue watu sana na simu, just chat someone up because sometimes you might be in a shoot. So Pau, we are glad that you're going to take us through the next session. It's now 11:35. I think you can have around 40 minutes if you can, or 30, and then we'll give a chance for interactions from the guys who are watching. So uwanja ni wako, endelea.
40 minutes yote.
Unataka saa ngapi? Tumia ile unataka.
No, I think so. What I'm gonna do, and if at any point I break Nderito, you let me know, yeah?
Yes, I will. Yes, I will.
Because network might fluctuate. What I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna highlight probably my journey, but then I'm also going to give lessons that I think I've learned in the process, and what 1 or 2 or 3 people can learn on what I do. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
Is my shared screen visible?
Yes, we can see it and we can hear you clearly. Carry on.
All right. So it's usually good. It's a stylistic device, especially if you're a writer, to always start with the end. And so for me, the end goal is I want to be the best, the world's best commercial product, food and drinks photographer and cinematographer in the world. Like, that's I said the world twice, but that's for me, that's the end. I want to have renowned work worldwide. I see quite a bit locally that we either bring in Australians or Britons or people from the US to come and do these kinds of work that that I've find myself doing a lot more. So I also want to go and do that in Australia and in Britain and in the US. That ideally should be the goal. You've highlighted my CV, so we don't need to go through that. What I need to say is that this summary of brand list, some of them I did, actually majority of them I did while I worked in agency as, started out as a project manager and growing into a creative director. I'm at Pau Shinski everywhere on social media. All right, so this, and this is a very nostalgic photo for me. This is James Quest, the late James Quest. He probably had some hand in me working, getting into photography. especially commercial photography. I think he had done some work for a casino. Oh, this is Masha. He's brought me tea. Thanks, Masha. All right. So he had done some commercial work for a casino, and it was some really, really badass work. So I mean, we became friends, and he is probably the one who pushed me more towards advertising and commercial. At that point, I knew what it was, but I didn't have experience, and which is something we'll talk about later. So I started my photography journey, proper photography, like ile sasa mimi napiga picha nilianza hapo 2014, the year of our Lord 2014. Hapo ndio nikachukua kikamera na nikaanza kucharaza mapicha. So I did everything. I remember once when I was leaving work, I think I was in the car with Shalom Munyiri and Thero. Yeah, I think it was Shalom and Thero. And Shalom was driving. Shalom is a writer and a teacher. Well, I think she worked for Mavuno for a very long time as the children's pastor, I think. Those questions of, so I see you with cameras, what are you trying to do? So I told her, I'm going to be the best commercial photographer in Kenya. I didn't say commercial, I said product photographer in Kenya. And that was a while back. So anyway, so I started the photography around 2014, 2015 properly. And then I say the silent tears because in between I was doing everything. So I started as a hobbyist photographer. I've shot weddings, I've shot events, I've shot babies, I've shot what are these things called? I've done maternity shots. I've done everything, and I guess that's the journey for most photographers that are in my space. You start as a photographer, and your work is to take photos, but then you start cutting a niche for yourself and deciding, I'll do this and I'll do that. So I did everything, and then they started dropping one by one. So I stopped doing, the first thing I stopped doing was baby bumps. Because, it's a private affair. And, I really don't think I enjoyed being in that space at that specific time. Then I stopped doing birthdays because I was like, oh, too much hassle and very minimal joy and return in it. Then I stopped doing weddings because, weddings, if you want to make it in photography, and I'll also touch on that, weddings give you an opportunity to shoot a lot more. It also gives you a bit of money that you can use to do things you need to do. Like, if you want to upgrade your camera, if you want to do to buy a lens, or you want to get lights, weddings will give you those opportunities. The thing with weddings is that you will work hard. You will work really, really hard for that. So eventually I stopped doing weddings for quite a number of reasons, but most of it was a lot more work, a little less return. So for example, in my line of work, I charge per hour, and then I compute it to per day. But when you look at weddings, you can't block it that way. From a commercial point of view, from a financial point of view, rather, because you have to look for people who are getting married. Then you find them, then you go meet them, and then you take your portfolio. Then they go see, then they call you for a meeting, or they call you to the committee. Then they review your work, and then they call you back and tell you, okay, you have the job. Then you have to wake up that day at 6 o'clock. You are heavily packed. And this is my journey, and I'm not saying it's wrong, because I know there are people who are pretty badass wedding photographers, and this is their thing. But for me, that waking up, I need to be at the place at 6 o'clock. I've carried this amount of gear. I'm going to shoot throughout the day, and I probably have a deposit. And then I'm going to finish the shoot at 6. If there's an evening shoot, then, you know, we are talking past 7. And then when I look at the amount of the hours that I've put in a wedding and the amount of returns for me at this point in time, you know, makes no sense. So if I shoot your wedding, I'm going to shoot free of charge. I don't think you'd be able to, you know, pay for it if we worked with how I do my billing. So anyway, so I had my very silent years of shooting everything. I got better because I shot a lot more. And even when I got better, I didn't think I was better. I thought, you know, this is the work that needs to be done. I've also shot quite a bit of high-profile weddings, and you know, it's things that we can see and say, okay, you know, I'm not a bad wedding photographer. In 2018, my work completely changed. That's why I am saying the 2018 effect. So I became clearer at how I shoot. My eyes became better at seeing things around me. And then I started shooting in series. And even after that, I started arranging and curating my work in a specific way. So, you know, my aesthetics for me is really important as a commercial photographer. So if you look at my work from 2018, you can tell, you know, in terms of composition, in terms of layout, in terms of labeling, in terms of posting, it's clearly defined, and I don't think I'd change it much going forward. And it's because I took my work seriously. I realized around me that some people are taking their work pretty seriously. One of whom was Sebastian Wanzala, who is probably one of my among my top favorite photographers in this galaxy. So I saw how he worked on his images. He took time. He was very deliberate in his editing and things like that. I was like, okay. So that's when my work started looking pretty good. This was my first product photo ever. I think I was at the AMP studios. The guys were having drinks, and somebody had a bottle of Red Bull. The Red Bull was mine. The Grants was not mine, as you can see. Buenas Fiwe. So I put them together. I just bought a light box from Cameras Africa, and you know, I laid out the black background, and then I just bought a couple of Simpex lights, my first strobe lights. I think Simpex were what, 240 watts or something, and they came with square soft boxes. You know, so I was pumped. It was 2 of them with a trigger, but it wasn't wireless. So you know, this was my first photos. I want to tell you, this is the best worst product photos I have ever seen in my life. These are the other 2 images. I only took, probably took more, but these are the only 3 images that I thought, hey, let me take. Let me tell you, when I took these photos, I was so pumped. I was like, oh my God, the world is not ready for me. Like, you know, I'm owning this joint, yeah. So when I took this, I thought it was good. And then the other thing with photography is when you start, it's in the doing that you get to see. So when I took this, then I started seeing, okay, so these product photos have a different kind of thing. You know, there's a different set of lighting, there's a different set of composition, there's a different, you know, you can't just put two items or products on a set and assume you're going to get something good. Like, there's quite a bit of work going into it. So like I said, my dream is, you know, I want to own this world. In 2015, again, in August, I said, I just want to take photos, make film, and write. I'm doing 2 of those very well currently. You know, I'm a leading product photographer, and I'm also a really good writer. Some of my friends say I'm a better writer than a photographer, but I don't listen to them. On February 28th, I also did a post, and this after quite a bit of work going into it. And I said, I'm going to be Diageo's chief product photographer across all brands globally. So I believe in a higher power, and for some people it's Zeus, for some people it's Wanyonyi, for some people it's you, whoever. But I believe in God, and I believe in I can speak in things that are not as if they were, and that I can speak a vision, and words have life, and I can speak to my future and what I want. So I said, this is what I want to do. This what I'm going to do. I want to also say that by this time I had not shot anything heavy commercial for Diageo, either for practice, a personal project, or as a commissioned job. And then still within those, so I said it in February. In March, I shot this. I think I shot it, not I think, I shot it at Nderito Studio, Apple State House. This work was a mess, but it was probably the defining work for me. If I was to shoot it again, of course, I'll shoot it differently. But this was my first Diageo job, and this was also my first paid for, fully commissioned product photography job. A call was made on Twitter, and somebody tagged me, and I sent my portfolio. And this was an Ogilvy commission, and I think they called in a few guys, and then I think 2 of us were able to make it to the end, and the other person either could not make it, or I mean, they had reasons why they didn't take the job. Because I was number 2 online, but worked with the creative director UV and the producer AJ, and we figured it out. And these were digital assets for White Cup Light, and some of them landed on Billboard. So this was a big thing for me. So maybe, Nderito, can I just share my portfolio so that everyone can see what my actual real portfolio currently looks like. Is that okay?
Yes. Go ahead.
All right, let me find it first. I hope everyone is okay. We will be serving tea after this, so everyone just chill out. Yeah, enjoy. So this is my actual portfolio, and I'll just run through it quickly. Again, this is and for photographers who are trying to put up a portfolio, my suggestion. And I mean, I don't know anyone who does it, but usually I want people to know whose portfolio they're looking at. So I will always have my one pager always on my portfolio, so that of course, I want to capture them with the first page, and then I want them to know whose portfolio they're looking at. But this is, I shot Heineken, and then this is White Cup that we shot at your studio. I did this as a personal project as well, and I did it immediately after I did this White Cup, because my eyes started seeing the light from that shoot. Of course, if you're very keen in product photography, you can find the 1 million problems that this image has, but this was the starting point, and it was a really good starting point. Just from this work, I got a couple of jobs, and I'll show you which one. Of course, luckily I myself and I think 2 other Kenyan photographers are probably the the past couple of years, and couple is being modest, in probably 4 or 5 years, no Kenyan has shot for Tusker Park. So, I mean, having to shoot this shows a testament of the amount of work and the ability now that the industry now already having on us local product photographers. This is the job I shot immediately after I did this. So they saw this and they said, we want something like that. And I shot this. Also, I shot this along, it was the same agency, 5. Then I shot Stellar Cast for Ogilvy and Qual. These were personal projects, and I'll talk more about this in a bit. This work was for a company in Mombasa that makes maize and wheat meals, and they were looking for somebody to do their work. So they actually sent this to Nairobi. I never met anyone of them. They just sent it. We had quite a bit of back and forth on email and WhatsApp. They sent their packs. I shot. What you see on the far end, I worked with my collaborative partner and retoucher. And just offered creative direction and said, I want this and this and this on the packs, and they were able to deliver it. Hennessy sent me a bottle to shoot. I bought Clement Gold from, I think, did I buy or was I sent from Miss Mukabi on Twitter. Crooksland also, I think, was Miss Mukabi, if I'm not wrong. Then I shot Blue Band. Bacardi, my good friend Josh Mwara works for this company that the importers and distributors. So we got this to shoot. These are actually my wife's. So she went for shopping, and I'm sure she's here. Number one supporter. Hey, babe. So she went for shopping, and I took all her products, everything that she has bought, and I just took photos of them. Even this, they bought this for our amazing girls. Even this belongs to my wife. This was a big deal because out of the work and the sharing of work, we got commissioned by Diageo Global to shoot the Diageo Reserve for the Kenyan market. I need to say that this was the main intention of this shoot actually was film. So they were doing quite a bit of film, but the team were like, okay, so if we are doing film and we're in Nairobi and we have somebody who can shoot these things, why don't we just get them on set? So I shot this on set. It was a good collaborative project that I'll talk about also in the images. Also, guys, if you see anything and you have questions, today I'm going to be open and just share everything that I need to share. And any questions, and I'm willing also to help out in any way. This was part of the Diageo Reserve. So this is my 2021 product portfolio. So thanks for viewing. All right, so let's take a look at the portfolio. I mean, we've already looked at it, but this is the kind of work I do. So remember, I'm not just a product photographer. I started out as a food and drinks photographer, and then I got into product photography, and all of them just blend together. So the good work for product photographers, for advertising and commercial, is that we are a sales support agency. Our work is to help brands make conversions of those sales. So if it's Coca-Cola, we have to portray it in a way that it will be able to make sales. If it's Tusker, if it's biscuits, if it's breakfast or whatever, that's our work. I've seen Patrick Ndiba has just checked in. Karibu sana, Patrick. So this is the good work. This is my latest work, and this job, we did this job in 2 phases. The main work was we needed to take pack shots that the brands can use to announce the new crisps. So after we did the pack shots, I shot in Limuru at the Tropical Heat offices with my cool assistant, Polo Buna, who's also a very good photographer, one of the best wildlife photographers in this country. So we went and we shot, and then when we came back, we said, okay, so we have really good images. What can we do with them? So we built a series of images out of the parks that were given. So this is a composite with the stock images and quite a bit of blending that delivered this. So for product photographers, and this is where we get into the nitty-gritties there. Guys, you have to pick a destination. You have to decide where you want to go. Like I said, my end is, I want to be world-renowned for this kind of work. Once you pick a destination, then you know what flight goes there, and you know what time it takes off from JKIA, or what time you need to be at the SGR, or are you going by bus or are you going to walk? Once you pick the destination, it is very easy to map out how you're going to get there, and I'm speaking from experience. And then you have to count the cost. And for me, this is the gift of daily work. As photographers, we think, and I think every artist, you think the more hours you put into it, the better you get. The 10,000 hour rule. Sadly for us, it doesn't work like that. For us, it's the 30 minutes every day. So 30 minutes every day will give you a lot more mileage in trying to get to where you're going than 10 hours on Saturday. So what I did, and with my wife products, is there was COVID, and I was one of the most skeptical. I was not skeptical. I was one of the most paranoid people when the lockdown one came. So I really avoided going out and crowds. But then there was nothing to do at all. So we are all at home. The shops or the malls are closed. Nobody wants to meet the other person because there's this new thing in the country. We don't know what's going on. So what I did is, when my wife went shopping, is during that period, I just took her products and I was just shooting. So, and it was slogging daily. It was not two, actually, it was probably 11 at 11 p.m. I would set up, because at that time everyone has slept. I would set up, put my things on my product clamp or a product table, and put my lights and shoot till about 3, 4, 5, and then set down. And then the next day we'll do it the same way, and it was recurrent. There was no stopping because there was no going anywhere. And then we'll sit back on the computer and look and say, okay, so there was a problem here, and let's rectify this here and there. That's how we ended up with those Harpic and ketchup shots. And then the work started being seen, and calls started coming. So we did this work for EABL. I think this was Canada. So we had shot Whitecap, and then we'd shot I'd shot Heineken as a personal project, and there was quite a bit of visibility. So this work was really big, but we took it in small steps. Mostly because we understood the small steps. Again, I shot this with Polo Buna, and the agency had a model who was holding the glass. So everything you see here, apart from the background, was shot. So we shot the chrome bottle separately. We shot the cane extra, the Red Star, and the Kenya cane separately. And the thing for us was, let's get these shots working fast before we try and put everything together. Because in our mind, we would have been like, let's put everything together, let's shoot, let's go. Again, we had to work diligently on the pause, and this was also heavy work on retouching. But this taught me and Obuna as well that we can actually do the small steps, and slowly by slowly we can cut the entire elephant. Remember, these images are going to go at points of sale. So they're going to go at your local and at your pubs. And goes back to what I said, what our good work is. Our good work is to help our brands and the brands that we work for make sales. If we do anything less than that, then we are not doing the good work. and then find answer. And this is, for me, this is really important. When you start out in photography, or when you pick a niche or a path that you want to take, you always think, let me do the kicker's job first. Let me do quality work first. But you need to understand that at that point of starting, and everyone is on a totally different journey. At the point of starting, what you need to do is quantity work. And quantity work, which also weddings help, is when you do quantity. For example, if I take a wedding or an event, you'll shoot 1,000 images, but you are guaranteed at least 20 will be good. And a good brand just wants those 20. If you can get 20 images when you're starting out, that's a really important thing, as compared to getting one quality image when you could have, or when what's being asked of you is 90. So remember, it's 90% quantity first, until you get the hang of it, until you understand your camera, until you understand how your niche works, until you understand who's in the market, who's the gatekeeper, what do they need to see. Then you scale back and say, okay, if I want to do destination weddings, then let me focus on really 10 good destination shots, and then I put the 90% in the quality of it, and then push the rest in marketing or getting eyeballs on your images. I don't know what happened. Oh, we are back. Work on collabos. This Kanye West story, working on his album, The Dark, Beautiful, Twisted Past, which is something that I came across recently, but it also goes on to, I think I did a post on how Burna Boy was able to win the Grammy. So what Kanye West did is he decided he wanted to do the best album that could be done. So he went to Hawaii, rented out a house that had a really huge studio, and brought in everyone he could bring for that album. So he brought Rihanna, he brought Jay-Z, he brought the best sound engineers. And for about, I think 30 to 45 days, they recorded, and it's probably one of the best albums ever produced. So work in collabos, decide where you're going. And collaborations are very tricky. All of us, we've seen the drama of when we collabo, who owns the rights to the images? What can they do with the images? Where can they display them? Must I be credited in my images? That's the fine details of collabos. And anything works, because you'll get eyeballs, but work on collabos. Decide I want to do wedding photography, or decide I want to do product commercial. Once you've decided that that's the destination, then you say, I want to shoot Tusker. Okay, so who can get me to shoot Tusker? Who can do my lighting for me? One of the best lighters in this country is a guy called Victor Ndalo. If you're ever on set and you need proper lighting, you need to get Victor Ndalo on set, who is also a very good photographer. But you have to decide, I want really good lighting. So you get the person who can deliver the kind of lighting you want, or the closest to what you want. Okay, so you want to partner with a stylist. Get a stylist. If you want to do someone to do food styling, somebody to do art, somebody to do sets and things like that. Once you're able to do that and you work in collabos, I think it's Kevin Ouma said, if you band and move together, that was yesterday. If you band and move together, you're able to go faster than if you try and do all these things alone. Again, we always start alone, but we are, once our eyes are open, then you see, okay, why do I need to be struggling with this when somebody else can do it for me? This Tusker image is one of my favorite images that we did. And because of collabos, I was able to do the mood board for the client and send it to the client And client will send feedback, and I will send it to other photographers and say, do you think this mood board would work? Do you think this represents the brand and things like that? And we're able to do a mood board that eventually we were able to shoot. Again, work hardest. Let me tell you guys, just get in there and do what you need to do. You have to work harder than the most hardworking person. If they wake up at 5, you wake up at 4 and do the work. If they go to sleep at midnight, you go to sleep at 2 and do the work. Eventually, we'll be able to see that the work, the hard work is paying. But then there's the working smart. And working smart is, be aware, get into it, be available, read the room, see what more you can do for your brand and for your clients. I was in a set and I had an assistant who alikuja na kiburi mingi kwa set. And they were talking to the client like they owned the client. They will tell the model, I want you to smile like this. Oh, kwa nini umekasirika leo morning? And and the client was like, wow, who is this you brought on my set today? And it was such a terrible experience. So just be aware, read the room, be the hero on set, and be available to make those decisions, and also think beyond. So imagine we did these really cool parks, and then they will just go into stock kind of images. When we had really good parks, well lit, well retouched, we just said, let's push the envelope and let's try and do something more with it. So be smart, work smartest. So you remember, you have to do the working hard and working smart, and then you have to shine in the small details. I think it's Moav who, I'm not sure, but I really think it's Moav who said, or who made a reference and said, if I showed you the trunk of an elephant alone, would you know it's the elephant? And of course you would know. Or if you saw the leg of the elephant, would you know it's the elephant without seeing the rest of the body? Or the neck, just a bit of the neck of a giraffe, would you know? Of course you would know. So you have to think macro, like this is the big picture. I'm trying to get a plate of shrimps or whatever, but can I zoom in and get in the details? And in the zooming in, you get an opportunity to shine, because like if you look at the image, it's macro, you can't see anything. But when you get in, then you're able to see different, the different patterns, different structures of whatever product you're taking, and you're able to share it. And those details almost always end up being the heroes of whatever projects we are doing. And then you have to be humble in bigger work. So this image was not, I didn't shoot this image. Namuk shot it for Coke. But I got the distinguished opportunity to retouch it. And this was an Ogilvy commission from SA, if I'm not wrong. I could be misrepresenting, but I think it was from SA. So anyway, so Namuk shot this, and I got the opportunity to retouch it. And these images lie, they're everywhere when you land in Nigeria. They're on billboards, they're on outdoor, they're on bus stops, they're on digital, everywhere in Nigeria. But we can't just stamp and and stop working and say, we've done work for Coke, which is a pretty good label to have it in your portfolio. But we can't we can't beat our chest and say we shot for Coke and things like that. So shine in the details, but be very humble in the macro. Again, I said practice. I did an interview with Aspire Africa and Kanye the Njoroge of Capital FM a while back. And I said that practice makes perfect. And I also said, imagine what perfect practice can do. What I have learned also recently, very recently, is that perfect practice must be conscious practice. So this is how I used to retouch. I would come, I have a second screen specifically for retouching, an HP Z24. I think it's 21 inches. So I will come, usually what I will do is I will come, set it up on my right, and then plug my machine on HDMI. It's important for me because, I can zoom and I can see whatever I'm shooting in a really, really bigger screen as compared to my small laptop, which is 15 inches. So I'm able to see a lot more, and I have more megapixels that I can work with. And then on my laptop, because now I'm working on HDMI, so I've done everything I need to do. I've done color corrections, I've done whatever I need to do. So when I'm going in, I'm either doing I'm clipping, I'm cutting. I'm on the pen tool, and I'm on minor adjustments and compositions, because everything now is just ready to patch together. On my left, on my screen, I would have a movie, or I'd be watching a music video. I'd be watching a concert, whatever. So there was something going on the left, and I'm trying to work on the right, which it's you're killing two birds with one stone. However, when you're learning, you cannot do that. You have to give focus, and that's where conscious practice comes in. You say, today I'm going to learn how to work the pen tool. So you silence everything and you focus on that. And that is the practice that gives you a lot more. When I did my movie or music while retouching, the heavy retouching learning, I missed quite a bit of things that I had to relearn later when I said, okay, so this is conscious learning, I have to do this. I think where time is running, so let me rush up. Again, they say gear does not matter. In our line of work, gear really matters. And so, you please gear up, but gear up slowly. Don't sell your kidney to gear up, but do the diligent work, deliver, over deliver, get paid, set aside money, and do buy gear that you need. Luckily, where I'm at currently, I don't think I need to gear up anymore, because I did my time with trying to get lights. One of the ways I actually got lights is somebody wanted me to assist them on a set, and they had lights that I needed. So I said, okay, instead of you paying me, I'll assist you for this couple of days at this rate, and then you'll pay me with your lighting. Because that work, really, we were never gonna get paid. It was also a personal project. But I'm like, okay, that's good, because I don't need this light. And we are talking 8 lights and above currently. Make connections. Find out who's where, who sits where, who do they know, how can they get you into the room, how can they mention your name in the room, and you'll get in. I did this Proton Saga work because I called a friend of mine who works in the agency that handles Simbacop and Mitsubishi and Proton and Mahindra, and I said, I'm willing to do this work free of charge, and we will share the images. When I computed that cost, it was coming close to about 700,000 shillings. And I know when I posted it on the PAK group, there was quite a bit of conversation. Oh, where did the $6,000 go? Does that mean you bought the car? I'm like, when you get into this field, then you're able to see how money moves. And then you're able to say, this is how much these kinds of projects are worth. And then I read somewhere, and I thought somebody was throwing a jab at me also in the PAK page, but I was like, okay, look, so we share our images on the PAK not because we want work from our peers, and it would be good if we got work from our peers, but this is how we show the kind of work that we're able to do locally. If you look at the latest award-winning imagery and work from people like Lorries or the One Award Show, or if you look at the Cannes Lions, and those global advertising, those big budget advertising awards, you'd realize that there's quite a bit of peer pushing. So you see what South Africa is doing, and the people in South Africa are banding together and they're saying, okay, so this is good work. So everyone is pushing the envelope. You're looking at what Egypt, and Egypt and North Africa is really good at this kind of work. You look and you see, what the agencies in those countries are doing, and you're like, okay, this is really good work, which means it's achievable. So you have to look beyond trying to impress Safaricom. You have to look beyond trying to impress EABL. You have to look beyond trying to impress Coca-Cola. You're like, are we able to do work for Heineken? Are we able to do work for Pepsi? Are we able to do work for Real Madrid or Barcelona? Are we able to go to the pinnacle of what these kinds of works require? Again, like I said, the aim for the world, and this is my aim. And I have a list of brands that I want to work for by the time I'm hanging my lens. And then you have to talk the industry up. So this is something that's really a big deal for us. Internally, we can trash the industry. Photographers can tell other photographers that this work is not good, or you could do better, or consider this. But when we speak as photographers, then we have to talk the industry up, and you have to say, we are here, but this is where we are going. Saying, okay, so Nani bombed at that shoot, but as an industry, we are going here, we are getting better. If PAK is struggling, we need to be able to say, internally, we need to tell PAK, Bana, what nonsense is this you're doing? But outside, we have to speak as one voice and talk our industry up and say, and I keep giving this example. Kenya is the second most creative industry in Africa, but we have the worst practice. And worst here is not a bad thing. It's just that we don't really easily band together and say, let's push the industry up. We're the ones who are always shooting each other. And I want to admit that I've been part of that, but I know better now, and I just we have to talk the industry up. We have to say, we have good photographers. You don't need to be bringing us South Africans and Australians and Americans. We can do this work locally. So guys, we have to talk the industry up. Again, I said, be the key asset. These are some of the images we did with these parks for Karibu. And then, like I always say, God gives us opportunities like this to breathe and to show what we can do, and the gift He's given us. So, for us, gratitude is always going to be a must. Any questions? I think I'm done. Not I think, I'm done.
Asante Pau. Thank you very much for thank you for your portfolio yako ni mzito sana mse. It's powerful and it's very heavy. Yeah. So I think I'll just go through the comments for those of us who are following on YouTube. Kujaribu too. I think David Waweru was excited by your hoodie. Okaka Felix is also following. Yes. And then we have Evan Sogeto, we have Rahim Kara asking where is his coffee. We have Amos Ndungu saying Kazi Safi. And then perhaps the first question is from David Waweru. Do you outsource editing services on the bottle shots? Is it one shot, or you lit per details and merge the images later? David Waweru's question. You can see it there. Do you outsource editing services on the bottle shots?
Okay, so it depends. No. But since you read it, I can just respond. So it depends. When you get into the industry, you realize that everything is costed, including editing, which means that you can either edit yourself and bill for it, or you can outsource. Yeah. So I sometimes I outsource, especially on the heavy work. Sometimes I outsource. Like I said with the Coke shots for Namuks, that work was outsourced to me. So that's an industry practice, and it is a costed work. But then the shots that you look at and you say, you know, I don't want this outsourced because it's going to go on my portfolio and it's going to go on my CV, or you probably don't even have the money, especially if it's a personal project, to outsource it. In terms of lighting the images, nowadays I do one shots. When I started, I used to light per detail and try and compose it, but nowadays, because of experience, and the fact that I would, when I'm on a heavy commercial set, I would probably be using between 4 to 8 lights. Then, you know, I just light everything for one shot. It's easier and safer. And, you know, if I was going to shoot detail per detail, it will take me 2 hours after getting the perfect light. But if I get just one shot, then, you know, it's just 5 minutes and we move on to other things.
Okay, sawa sawa. Kule Facebook, Lucy Kamau tuned in. We have Emmanuel Masaku, asante sana. Camera Citizen, hatujaijua jina yako ya ukweli, but we appreciate
Camera
you
Citizen
following
ni
this
nani?
event since Monday. Hata unashangaa ni nani eh? Andika majina ya serikali. Andika majina yake ya serikali. Gibson Minor, of course, product photography.
Oh, Gibson
perhaps
is
if Pau didn't do this, the next one, Gibson, we are gonna call you so that you can bring in your wealth of experience. I think
Gibson is really,
you guys are
really
among
cool.
you're the top photographers who do this kind of work. Yes. Simon Lines, good stuff. David Chasimba is saying this is great. Dan Minor is asking you, would you talk about pricing, please? And the last comment from Simon Lines Shege again, he says, when you start taking mentees, Pau Shinski ujue Simon Lines Shege ako kwa queue akingoja kuwa mentee kwa
na ndio vile Simon Lines ni ngori. And then you know Simon Lines,
when you guys
is from my shags. He's called Chege but he's a Jango.
Nilisikia juzi kwa BBC Simon Lines huongea kijaka kabisa. So maybe you can talk. Dan Minor has asked about pricing, Pau.
You know, pricing is always.
You talk a little bit about pricing.
Let me talk about pricing, and I'll take you back to the wedding, to why I left wedding photography. Paid for wedding photography, because, you know, sometimes I shoot for friends and family. It depends on the need. So let's do an average, and I don't know how people charge for wedding photography. So say you shoot weddings for 400,000 as an example, and you're there from 8 to 5. When you break it down, you're looking at what? Maybe 10,000 per hour for wedding photography, right? This is just wedding photography. But then that 100,000, you have an assistant. So say you're paying them 70, you're paying yourself 70, you're giving them 30, right? So it's your 70 that we're going to split against those hours. So we are saying you're now at 7K per hour. Sindio? Remember, you took time to try and get to shoot this wedding. So my question is, okay, so you took time to get this wedding, to get this guy. You called them. You went for a meeting, which you are probably the one who bought tea for that meeting, which costed you probably $1,000, because you know you're trying to impress this guy so that you get this job. All right. You wake up early, you have an assistant, ameenda kwa grooms, wewe kwa sababu ndio bazoo, umeenda kwa bride. Mmecheza, wedding imeisha, kila mtu ameenda home. Hiyo fare kwenda home mlitoa wapi? So let's say you take it at mlichukua Uber, combined effort of $5,000. because you have equipment. You can't use public transport. And then you have to edit those photos, and editing 1,000 photos will take you, say, half a day if you're fast, a whole day if you're not as fast. So that's another whole day you've committed to this wedding. So we are saying you've spent more than 24 hours in a wedding. And this is my scenario. That's why I left. 24 hours in a wedding, and I'm making 70,000 bob out of it. So do your 24 divided by 70,000 bob. That means your rate card, your hourly rate card, is probably 500 bob. All is up. Yeah. This is how we cost in commercial photography. You bill for the hours, by the hour, every hour, and every extra hour. So I'll come and say my rate card, this is how much my rate card is as a photographer. And as a photographer, I come with me, my camera, and my lenses. If it's really advanced, I have to bill for extra lenses. But if you just want me to come and shoot your bottle or your food or whatever, I'll come as me with my camera and my lenses. But this work needs to be lit. So in my quotation, I have to put in cost of lighting. These lights won't stand by themselves. I have to put my systems, and they need power. So I have to put my cabling, and I need an SD card, and I need to back this up. So that's a hard drive, and I need to be on set at this time. So that's a public transport or Uber, whatever it is. So in commercial production for advertising, every line item is billable. Every single line item is billable. If you do not bill for it, it is assumed that you're bearing that cost. But if you look at the big productions and if you look at the resource schedule and things like that, it will show you that even airtime, even the producer, even the taxi man who comes to pick you has a line item that they must be paid because they're giving time as a resource to make this production. So let me give you a second example of how we work pricing. And if you want me to help you with a pricing strategy, we can talk about it later. But you can imagine that. So recently, myself and some other Kenyans, we've been on set for Coca-Cola for work for the West African market. And it's pretty amazing work. Like, it's work that you will do free of charge because of the mileage that it will give. So you can imagine they brought 3 of the highest ranking Nigerian celebs into the country for this production. Then you can imagine that they brought the best film crew from North America, and the production is being handled from South Africa, and the shoot is being done in Kenya. That work, my friend, is not too bob. And like I said, our work is a sales support. So if you're able to show your client that me as this photographer, I come here and I deliver this work, and you're going to pay me 300,000 or 400,000 or $500,000 or $1 million, bob, the client believes is if this work is done the way I need it done, I'm going to make a profit. I'm going to make a return on investment on this money that I'm putting on production. That's how you need to think about pricing on a commercial aspect.
Okay. Great. I think, Pau, it's been an awesome time. I just want to read two more comments. Amos Ndungu, I think that is Ndumo, saying, very impressive, great presentation. What do you choose to put in a portfolio without doing an overkill? And then Alois Iteba. Alois, we missed you in the earlier presentation, but it happens sometimes. Hapo sawa says, say, amazing job kama kawaida. That is Alois Iteba. Maybe in a few seconds, Pau, you can respond to Ndumo's question, how do you choose what to put in a portfolio? And then we wrap up.
Okay, so let me speak for myself, and I'm sure it will probably apply across everyone. Nobody thinks about portfolios until they need to have a portfolio, and that is a dangerous place to be. Let me give you a very quick story on how I landed in product and food. Actually, I started food first before product. So I got a call from an agency and said, "We've seen your work." Where did they see my work? On Facebook. Like, we've seen your work. It's really good, and we want to work with you. We have 3 hotels that we need to take food photos of, but you can also do some ambient shots, just 1 or 2 for the rooms and things like that, but the main work is food. I'm like, yeah, of course, you guys are paying. Yes, we are paying. But now the hotels, one hotel is in Kenya, the other one is in Accra, and the other one is in Addis, and there was Lagos as well. Hiyo si ni kuomoka, ilikuwa ninaomoka. So we agreed, we did everything, we did the costing, we negotiated, a week to the shoot. I get an email and they say, by the way, my friend, you didn't send us your portfolio. Please send us your portfolio. And by God, I did not have a portfolio. So I put together quickly on a portfolio on PowerPoint, and I had photos of Njae here and Mokimo over there and Asoda here. And it wasn't a portfolio. It was just a collection of images I'd taken. And this person, who's a senior producer, commercial producer in this country, told me, my friend, this thing will not fly. You need a week to put together a good portfolio. Otherwise, this job is off. It will go to somebody else. At that point, I'd never done a portfolio and I'd never shot extensively. So, of course, I knew that week they were just trying to be polite. So I went home, I cried, and then I cried again. And then I called my friend who I grew up with at Sankara Hotel, and I told her, me, I'm trying to build this portfolio. So can I come and buy food and then I take photos? You're like, you want to buy food? Give me a minute. She hangs up, she calls her marketing manager. Her marketing manager says, we will work with him if he's willing to allow us to share the photos. So they tell me, come on this specific day. Actually, I went for a meeting. We sat down. They looked at my work. They're like, okay, it's not bad. I think we can do something. So their only ask was, you shoot everything you want to shoot. We are owning these images 50-50. And they didn't ask me to credit them or anything. So I went in, I shot. They called me in. They spoke to the chef, put together a menu. I shot. By the time we were done, I asked, so how much money have we spent on this shoot? It was 75,000 shillings. You can imagine somebody putting down 75,000 shillings to build your portfolio. It means those guys are not joking, and you're at best not be a joker yourself. So then once we did that, then for the hard work was to choose what images go into a portfolio. And for them, it was easy. For me, it was hard because I was like, okay, all these images are good. By then, I was pretty good at Lightroom and Photoshop. Well, not pretty good, but I was a bit more advanced at that kind of work. So I put together quickly, chap. I put together a portfolio. It had 15 or 16 pages. It had my contacts. It had my social media connections. And then that's what I sent everyone. So to answer you in terms of why, which was not a question, but let me say why a portfolio. You need a portfolio because that's the only thing potential clients are going to ask for. People will give you work for the work they know you can do, not the work they think you can do. Anybody who gives you work they think you can do at this level is either a joker or under the influence. Agencies and creative directors, And producers will always tell you, send me your latest portfolio. And the portfolio, you keep refreshing it. So, I have a portfolio from 2016, I have a portfolio from 2017, I have a portfolio all the way to 2021. And as we speak, we are heading towards the end of the year. I need to do a new portfolio, because what I showed you in my current portfolio is old work. We've done work with Kingfisher recently. We've done work with the Nigerian markets, 2 brands. There's constant work going on. We've shot food for different hotels that have not gone into the portfolio. So you need to keep refreshing. What images go into your portfolio are images you want to be paid to work on. So please do not put a portfolio of a wedding or of somebody, at the exchanging of rings or exchanging of vows when you want to be paid for portraits. Please remember, I'm talking about being paid. So work is not, the assumption here, 100%, is that you're already good with the camera. You understand your ISO, you understand your shutter speed, you understand what you need to do. So the work is getting the actual work. So for Ndumos and everyone else asking, if you have to look at your images and see which image best portrays the kind of work you want to do. That's number 1. Number 2, you have to plan and say, this is how I want my portfolio to look like. If you look at my portfolio from 2018, it's consistent. It is consistent. So it's either one big page with everything, it's 2 squares, or it's 3 or 4 landscapes like this. This is really, and this is a design principle, and designers will tell you, aesthetically, it's more pleasing to the eye. People will spend a lot more time here than if you just throw in images at whatever size. And at this level of my work, I don't care if I crop out an image. So for example, here, if you look at this, you can see on the other sides, I cropped out the top. On the left, I cropped out the neck of that bottle, and on the right, I cropped out the bottle top. It doesn't matter. People will see it. Here, I cropped out the entire plate. Yeah, I cut it wherever I thought it would fit. This was 100% balanced. This was a huge shot that we had to crop out so that it fits a specific size that will go on social media. And then the other thing with my portfolio is that I design for social media. So I designed for Twitter, I designed for Facebook, I designed for Instagram, and I designed for LinkedIn. And then I designed for stories, I designed for TikTok, and then I designed for Reels. And all these are opportunities that I have to meet my potential clients. Then the final thing is, like for example, the shoot we did for this Nigerian market, we had amazing shots, and there are more than 30, 40. All those things can't go into the portfolio. So the portfolio at hand, and my portfolio is always on phone. If somebody called me right now and told me, hey, by the way, can we see your portfolio? They'll get it in the next 1 minute, because I'll just go to my files, click it, share it, and it's on their WhatsApp. If they want it on email, click it, share it, go to Gmail and send it. So you have to look at all those 30 images and say, this one best represents what I want to do, or this one best represents the kind of work I need to do. So they need to give me a minute. Let me just share my final, just to answer Ndumos. Are you seeing how the aesthetic is? For this specific portfolio, I went squares, strictly squares. I could have gone in thirds, which I've done. So for example, you'd see for Karibu, you'd see the Karibu flour alone, and then the wheat alone, and then with Mahindi and wheat, and then Mahindi alone. Same as this, I had like 8 or so images of this, same as this. For this client, this portfolio was specifically to an international beer client. So for me to get their attention, my first page had to be beer, and it had to be big beer. That's why it's landed like this. And depending on who the client is, I have somewhere Blue Band is at the top. I have somewhere Coke is at the top. I have somewhere the White Cup is at the top. It depends with the brief and who you're trying to impress. I think that's it, Nderitu. If you're not taking any more time, again, I am willing and open to work with you guys or anyone for that matter on if they want to build a portfolio, if they want to build an aesthetic, or if they want somebody to just do a peer review on their work, and then we can, I'm willing and ready and able. And we can even for the product photographers here, Kina Gibbs, maybe we can organize and do a portfolio review, and we can just again, like I said, let's talk the industry up and lift each other.
Asante sana. That was very awesome. Hata mimi nimelearn mambo mengi sana. You seem to have started a trouble with Njahe. I can see Fupi saying Fupi amesema, nilikuwa nimeona comment ya Fupi hapa. Yes, Fupi amesema kazi safi. Victor Nyadimo anasema Njahe amecheka hapo vibaya yake yote. Ndumos is asking Njahe zimefanya nini? Hata Mwav anauliza, Pau, you wanted to shoot Njahe in Sankara.
By them niwache, please.
So there's a gentleman, watu watumie majina yao ya ukweli, because now this guy on Facebook, jina yake ni maji ya vyombo. But he's saying that the true aesthetic value that he's on Facebook is vital, plays a pivotal role in the overall overview of your portfolio. I believe he's talking about that. And I see there's somebody there who's saying that the request for portfolio review, I don't know if that is Gibson.
Yeah, that's Gibbs.
Pia Simon Lines, and that is something that we are going to follow up. So asanteni sana. Pau, we are really, really grateful. Your session is one of those that was highly attended online. So we really appreciate, and we know it's because there are people who want to learn something. They look up to you. So asanteni sana. We have to go and prepare for Rag's practical session. We will be live streaming it from Evans Ogeto studio, where he's going to talk about composites. So we'll be going live at 2. And then Gioni, mambo ya pricing, tutaongea on the fireside chat. Pau, once again, asante sana.
Thank you. Thanks guys for having me. Thanks for engaging. Again, like I said, I'm open. If anybody wants help, if you want to up your ante in the game, I mean, it's our industry. It's $5 billion a year industry. Let's get us. If everyone gets a slice, then we're going up. Asanteni sana, God bless you, and have an amazing week. Thanks for the opportunity, PAK and Nderitu specifically. Shinski out.